So this entire conference is about how corporates actually can do startup, and this is an approach where corporates actually do startup in a specific, yes, that's great, in a specific manner. And first of all, we agreed to have a little introduction round. So I'd like to invite every panelist to briefly introduce himself. What's actually his role in the program he's involved in? What's special about the program? And so what's the most promising thing you already learned which you would like to share? And what's the greatest challenge? So I would be happy to repeat the questions. But please, Luisa, would you like to start?
Hello, I'm Louise. I'm working for Axel Springer Plug and Play and was involved in building and developing the Axel Springer Plug and Play accelerator, and now I'm operator responsible for the day-to-day business.
What's so special about Axel Springer Plug and Play?
Okay, what's so special about? So we started in March this year. Axel Springer Plug and Play is a joint venture, so the first special thing is our joint venture partner, Plug and Play Tech Center in the Silicon Valley. They have already accelerated more than 1,000 startups, and our startups, after the accelerator program, startups have the chance and the opportunity to go to the Silicon Valley. And of course we have the power and the network of Axel Springer.
Okay, great. So is there something which you'd like to share, like, okay, what's what already is sort of promising, what's great about things which already happened, which you would like to share?
Yeah, so actually we are like in the first program now, and next week we will have our demo day. And actually the first program went really good. We have 8 very good teams, and also we have an open space where the teams are sitting in. And what really is working good is the exchange, the knowledge exchange between the startups, and also the motivation and attention of the whole Axel Springer employees.
Okay. Thank you very much. So who would like to be next? Thomas?
My name is Thomas Hoffner. I'm responsible for the ProSiemens Advanced Accelerator that we just started going this year. Building up kind of a co-founder, so it's more like a startup within a big corporation, the accelerator itself. The program, just in brief, is we give them 25,000 euro for 5% of their equity, and of course mentoring, support our network on a day-to-day basis. The questions was...
Yeah, so what's special about Accelerator?
Yeah,
so
what's special? So, yeah, they are part of a big corporation. ProSiemens Advanced is the biggest TV company in Germany, one of the leading media company in Europe. So they get access, of course, to that reach, to TV media, TV advertising. But also, we offer them a wildcard at the 7 Pitch Day, which just started. We have the 7 Pitch Day, which is a pitch day in London, where you can win as a startup 7 million in TV advertising. They get one of those 6 to 7 candidates get a wildcard here. We just finished our first class with 6 companies. We had our demo day. That was very successful. What worked well was, actually, I can absolutely agree. We thought that mentoring is a very important part, but what we've seen is that the mentoring between the startups, so the energy and the momentum that had been generated within the startups, within the teams and founders, that was the best mentoring they could ever get, actually. What did not work so well was, to be very honest, term sheets is a nightmare, and we don't do any options or convertibles or loans. We just give them 25,000 for hard equity, and we have to actually negotiate 6 different term sheets. And we actually thought that we just give them a standard term sheet, but that didn't work out. So that was more or less a nightmare. What worked out very well was, we think that the most important part of when we leave the program is that they get further financing, and more or less it was possible that we got the financing for all those 6 startups.
Okay, Thomas, thank you. Axel.
Okay, I'm Axel Manneking. I'm working at Hubraum. I'm responsible for internationalization and for the business operations. So on one hand, I'm trying to expand the concept beyond Germany, bridging our activities in Krakow for Eastern Europe, and currently building up our office in Tel Aviv. And on the other hand, I'm caring about the numbers, about our investor case. So that are my 2 roles. And so Hubraum is the incubator activity of Deutsche Telekom, and it's a 9 to 12 months program. It's a money for equity program, so we invest in the startups, in the seed startups up to 300,000 euros, and take between 10 to 25% equity. It's also mentoring and expert advice. It's also a co-working, shared co-working space, and it's also about connecting the startups to the assets of Deutsche Telekom. So, what is special? I'd say one thing which is really nice is that at Deutsche Telekom we have also T-Venture, our corporate venture fund, and we are working very closely with them. So they are one option of follow-on financing. So that's something which is quite nice. On the other hand, if you look at the assets of Deutsche Telekom, on the first few startups are always looking at our reach we have in the consumer segment. But if you take a second look at then you realize that Deutsche Telekom especially is very strong in the business customer segment. So we have thousands of business customers, small and medium enterprises, and we have T-Systems as potential sales support. So that is very nice, and on top of that we are one of the leading European telcos, and are not only active in Germany but all over Europe, and already have set up also Hubraum operations in Eastern Europe, so that is a bit of an international flavor. So what worked well, as my colleagues just said, I think the sharing and the co-working is one of the major assets, and it's mentoring is more facilitating rather than really doing hard stuff. I think also what worked well, if you look 1 year back, Deutsche Telekom was not present in this target group. And now I think with Hubraum, Deutsche Telekom is really a valuable and accepted partner for startups. And really managed to build a reputation. We did our first accelerator program with 15 teams. We have already 6 investments and more to come.
Excellent, thank you. Ulf.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm Ulf. My background is, actually I have 2 backgrounds. As a founder back in 2000, so in the times where all this was called new media. So beside of my startup story, I also work for a few corporates for the innovation management, and nowadays, since now 2.5 years, I'm part of the Use Now team, co-founder of Use Now, which was then the incubator, is now still an incubator and co-working space, as my colleague says here as well. And we just launched, and this is probably the special thing, an accelerator which will start in November together with the Founding Institute. Our program, incubation program, is 500k, office space, mentoring, and all the ones we have here. And the accelerator is 25k, 3 months program together with the Founding Institute, external mentors, with guys like Jared Karim from YouTube, the BitTorrent founder, and some others. And what's special about our program is with extensive mentorship of our internal marketplace experts like Scout Group or Dealing Scout, which is located in Berlin, 600 people with extensive knowledge in marketplaces, all the verticals like real estate,
Okay, actually you're all competing for the same target group. Is it right or wrong? So are you actually doors flip open and you come in and then Axel comes in and then Luisa, or?
Might be looks like that, especially like with when we are in the same location, it's just the opposite of that. I would say it's friends, and we all have a different background and we have all different strengths. This is what I would say. Even if you just look for the scout group, where we have different verticals, and we are located in Berlin and in Munich, you find experts for your very specific problems when it's around marketplaces, if you're looking like that. Of course, we are a little bit broader than just marketplace, but I wouldn't say that we are competing for the same people. So it's more like, yeah, helping each other, or helping the startups, and then see what's the best for you. We have media, we have technology companies, we have everybody.
And all of you agree to this statement?
Well, I would more or less agree. Yes, of course, there are some areas where we also are competitors. So if you look at, let me say, second screen technology, for example, I think we both strive for the best teams. Or if you look at, for, let's say, edtech companies, there is, of course, competition in Deutsche Telekom and ProSiebenSat.1 and Springer. However, these are parts of the whole portfolio, and you win some and you miss some. Yeah, that's part of the game. And where's competition, there's also good value for the startups. So in the end, it's good for the startups as well.
I actually agree. We were just talking about with Stefan outside, your colleague, about new accelerators, new incubators are studying, talking about Microsoft, talking about Coca-Cola and so on. I think, of course, there is a big competition for the startups, but on the other hand side, I think Germany is big enough and innovative enough that there are many, many startups, many more startups for these programs. And I think it's just a question of marketing the accelerator. We are in the beginning, so we're all about talking startups. We have our first class, so we started just the marketing for that. So I don't think that all the startups out there know really on the one hand side that there is an accelerator, and on the other hand side, what's good for them. You know, we all know there are studies, academic studies on and on, especially in the US, that if you be part of an accelerator, the probability that you're still there after a year is much higher than you've started by yourself. So these are the facts that need to be pushed out in the market, and need to be told to the startups.
I totally agree, and I think the startup itself should know which program actually is the best for them. So I don't know if they want to have like big media reach in terms of like build, they can come to us. If they want to have like TV ads, they go to you. I think this is like the difference. The startup should know.
Maybe I want to ask something back. Is this question about competition really that what is important, or it's really about more like what's other objectives?
So yes, of course it's about the objectives, but I had in mind, and I should have expressed it maybe a little bit more clearly, but I had in mind that what my perception is that actually in the last couple of months there are a lot of accelerators and incubators popping up, and the question is about sustainability. And one aspect of sustainability is, do you actually have the opportunity to be really successful because you have great teams, and if they sort of play with you, right? So they go to the one and to the other, then should make sense, right?
Because this is maybe we with the scout group are a little bit different of the, I would say, the big guys here on the right, on my side, because we are very small. So we started this with the idea 2.5 years or 3 years back. We've seen that we bought 2 startups, which was very successful. We integrated them. We experience problems that have, or that comes up with integration of complete different worlds in a big corporation. So just to explain, we have 600 people just in Berlin, 600 more in Munich sitting. So somehow we are a corporation, even though we are just 15 years old, be it in Scout or a Scout group, but we are no startup anymore, definitely. So, and when we see these, we said, okay, we need to find a place, a physical space where people can sit and then where they can build their ideas, where we can go out to external, which is one criteria of us, but we are also open for, let's say, the entrepreneurs. So what we have really is like the objective to get the whole organization more innovative. And this is one of our objectives besides of making profit.
Just coming back to your question regarding teams hopping from one accelerator to the other. From my point of view, we as Hubraum, we are getting, well, we are now at the point where we're very we do not like these teams because we think if they don't get it in the first program, in the first 3 to 4 months of the program, why should they get it in the next program? So that's something where our attitude is, let me say, kind of changing. I wouldn't exclude it that if there's a super team that we will get them on board, but usually we will not do it in the future. The other thing is, will we all on the stage in 4 years or 5 years from now? I don't know. Yeah. I'd say there is a certain number of accelerators or startup programs that can exist in Germany, depending on the let me say quality, number and quality of especially the quality of the deal flow that is existing, and we think that especially in the next, let me say, 18 to 24 months, partnerships together with industry partners, but also, let me say, VC or investment partners are becoming more and more important, so that the key KPIs of, let me say, survival rate and follow-on financing, so creating value, also to the startups, improve and are more stable.
I think the question is, especially most of the startups, most of the accelerators are built by big corporations. The question is, what's the strategy of the corporation? Is it more like talent access? Is it access to innovation? Is it pure financial focus? And depending on that, I think there will be a consolidation in the market. And I also think that, especially corporates, big corporates, they're very opportunistic, so they kind of live from one quarterly report to the other. And the same speed they start accelerators, they will close it again. So I think where it's very important, you have to know what you are for, you have to have the right strategy. And I can say from my point of view, our strategy is definitely talent access and innovation access. We don't care so much about the return on that part because, to be very honest, we're not talking about big figures, 25K for a company. And that worked very well. So we've got our second class, we've got another 6, no, in that case it's 7 startups, very good teams. And I'm absolutely positive that that will work for the next couple of years.
So maybe the question is like, okay, what is the payoff for the startups which you are actually helping? And what is sort of the payoff for your company? So how do you sort of transform your company because you have this incubator? And how do you help, what do these startups actually get if they are part of your program?
Actually, I take the second question before, like what's in for us for the Use Now perspective. I totally agree with Thomas, Munich guy from Busi. Our objective is not so much to find the next multi-million-dollar business. I think this is very difficult, and there are other non-corporate incubators which maybe are better. Our objectives are very similar to that, to get access to innovation. For us, it's also war for talents in Berlin, to be a cool company, to keep startup feeling, to learn from startup, and somehow to monitor all the disruptive business which comes out in the world, so which we can't do with our other pillars of innovation that we are doing, because incubation is not the only pillar we have in our operation. If it comes to what's in for the startups, it's the same, it's the other side of the medal. So we can give them first of all money, but I think this is not the most important thing. We can share our experience, we can give them access to markets, and we can shorten the time. they can prove their business. So they usually need a lot of money and a lot of time to acquire the market traction. They need to build up their business. We can help them with that in our marketplaces. And this is, I think, a win-win situation. When it comes to what is the common objective, this might be that there's a self-standing company and should be the first goal in 1 year, 2 years more. But it could be also a perspective like within the corporation environment. It doesn't mean that these are the future employees we have. But this could be a department, for instance, like you now started, wasn't so easy. This was a simple acquisition of an independent moving platform, which is now part of the Scout Group, and which is the former founder of this is the head of the Umsos part and also is the head of the incubation part. So he had a personal experience with that, and we have more.
So for Axel Springer, it's like the accelerator is actually a vehicle, because normally we do M&A later stage, digital acquisitions, and we had so many requests of startups, can you help us, can you help us, and we didn't know what to do with them actually, and they now go to the accelerator, and this is perfect. And like compared to our normally acquisitions, these are very small tickets. So on one hand, we are like closer to the market, and then, but our joint venture partner, Plug and Play, they are actually more money and exit driven. So we have to find something in between. And for the startup, actually, it's not like what you were saying, not the 25,000. You have to see the whole package. So it's like the money, the office space, and then of course like the workshops, the mentoring, and then we have something like we call Godfathers. So every startup, they get like people, like partners from Axel Springer, for example, like we have a big marketing department, or like they can publish an article at Computer Build, whatever fits.
Do you actually mingle your own employees with your startups, like a know-how transfer, or change brought to your own company? How do you do this? Or do you want to do this?
Absolutely, I think that's the value add that we offer, because we're not a standalone accelerator. And that combines with your question before. So that's the first time ProSieben can only talk for ProSiebenSat.1. That's the first time that we do seed funding. And besides access to talent, access to innovation, for us it's also, since the beauty of the corporation is that we have 7 ventures, the venture arm of ProSiebenSat.1, this is also access to deal flow. So the Accelerator program is something like a pre-due diligence that we do on the startup. So we can decide, of course we get the first hand on them, we can decide where we're going to invest. And of course we try to connect them with our departments, with HR department, what we've done with the company that we've got in our last class, with Starwatch, with the publishing, with the SOM, our agency, and so on. Because that's the value add. Otherwise you would be just one of these more or less non-comparable programs.
And actually some of your employees already approaching you to, okay, I want to start my own business and would like to come to you because you have the same DNA, the same color whatsoever. So do you have this experience already?
Yeah, yes, we have that, but we have like, it's called strategische Produktentwicklung, where like all internal employees can go to with an idea, and they can start like their own company, and also, but not with purely Axel Springer employees, but also with external people.
So we had one case at Hucom. There was one entrepreneur. He joined our first accelerator program. It's called Mighty Office. It was a pure internal thing, and he now quit and founded his own company for this product.
Yes, we do as well, and we even many examples of that. We even do. We have a structure for our employees to come to the incubator. Not so much for the accelerator, it will start, but for the incubator. It's called Zehnerkarte, which means that every employee can go to his boss and say, I have an idea, here's a Zehnerkarte, which means 10 months, 10 working months, which is free for him to do research and to build and to execute his idea. So usually it's like that he's looking for 1 or 2 co-founders, internal co-founders. If you don't find, we help them looking for internal co-founders. If we don't find any internal co-founders who is interested in that idea, we look for external people, and they get at least 3 months time, so people, it's 9 months, maybe a little bit more. They got the budget, they got the funding, and they can look into their idea if it makes sense. This is one part. The other part, how people work together, is really like that we have external teams which comes and develop product for us. It's not a team which really will do the next multi-billion-dollar business. So for sure not yet, but maybe it comes out later, we don't know. But for this stage they develop products. They also develop their own company on their own. So the example I have in mind is a London team. They're sitting by us in Berlin, the other half in London. One employee came from the Innovation Scout side to their team. And now they work together very extensively with our product team in the Datenbewertung, in cases, which is an open big data topic. And so this is a really close collaboration on both sides.
So would you say that this has the potential, for instance, if we say, look 5 or 4 years ahead as a program or as a concept, that these vehicles you are launching or have launched already could be capable of changing your company? Or is it something like, okay, it's great, nice to have, we have an option, maybe the something goes on, okay, it doesn't cost us much, it's fun, it's great to have a good place, our CEO can go to increase a million. So, what is it? What do you want? What are you heading for?
I hope so. This should be, we are doing that not for fun. So, and our CEO would say, okay, it's more than fun. So, we have really the objective from our top level management to say to make our company, our corporation more innovative, make the people more think about the ideas, make the, I don't know, the next big idea should come internally. So this is one part. So this is nothing what you can do by order, so we only can try and give the, let's say, the chance to do so. So we are still directed external for external teams and so on, but this is really a part which is integrated in our incubation and acceleration program. We are always open for all our employees. So our motto is our topic, our claim is open.
Great. So how about the others? So think big.
Well, for Deutsche Telekom it's a bit harder because
we're so big already.
Yeah, we are so to say big. Yeah, 230,000 employees. So it makes a difference if you have 1,500 to 3,000 people. On the other hand, there is no alternative. We need to build options for our employees to find new and better ways to be creative, to innovate. And for the time being, we are more focused on accelerating or incubating teams from external. But as you do with Incubate, we also have to think about mixing teams, mixing competencies, and maybe some days also incubate from within as a new form of starting new businesses.
Yeah, so we have like this accelerator, and then we have this strategische Produktentwicklung, and like the accelerator is actually for only external people, and the strategische Produktentwicklung is for internal people to, I mean, we have an office at Springer where they can drop by and with an idea, and they can grow their business there. But also for the accelerator, it's possible that at a later stage, Axel Springer could buy a company.
From our point of view, actually, I think it must be part of the strategy. Our DNA is not. It's not part of our DNA saying, okay, we want to enhance people within the corporation, we want to motivate people within the corporation to become an entrepreneur. So it's more like an external program that we have, and unfortunately I haven't also heard of anybody who wanted to be part of the program. We've got some colleagues who started to ask whether they want to be a mentor or a sparring partner or something like that. That's where it was nice, but nobody came up and said, well, I want to start my own company with the accelerator. I think that must be part of the strategy, and this must be part of the top level strategy of the accelerator, and must be brought from top down into the company. Yeah, that's basically it.
See, so I would like to come come back to this headline. So, overcoming the innovator's dilemma. So that's no small deal. So, if you are an incubator, accelerator, I was wondering when I was sort of looking at all of you, like, okay, to be really overcoming the innovator's dilemma, you might have to kill your core business yourself. Because you have to be on time to be there with the next level of your core business, otherwise others will kill you, like Kodak in digital cameras, for instance, or Nokia and Apple. You know all these examples.
What's the next step? And to be very honest, we're still so good situation that we're in, but we're still the leading media company in Germany, so we're not as scared as, for example, print. But still, we know there will be there are changing times, things are different, and we look for innovative startups, great teams who have great products that disrupt these companies, and we want to have it in-house rather than somewhere out there.
YGT doesn't want a TV show, right? So excuse me. So maybe we can have just another statement on this question.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's better like to cannibalize themselves than somebody else would do that. So it's the same as we have like the print and then we have the DE, and it's better that they go to the DE instead of to Spiegel Online, for example. And it's the same with the startups.
Yeah, nothing to add. That's the sense.
We'll read in 2 years.
Yeah. Thanks.
Maybe I can speak for our top-level management here as well. So I agree with all of them. The reason why we have you is now is really somehow the healthy, paranoid but healthy look into the world. Where's the next disruptive business which can be disruptive for our business model? So like we were 20 years ago for the newspapers, for the Springer classified newspaper. Now we have to look in social media, mobile, whatever is going on. So it's better we do than somebody else.
Okay, great. Good luck for all of you. So I would like to open up the panel for the audience. So any further questions? Christoph. So beware, Christoph is asking questions.
So from the 4 programs that you represent, the 4 of you, 3 are based in Berlin, 1 is not based in Berlin. And my question is obviously, how is it possible to run such a program not in Berlin? Like, what would you say are the differences between that you perceive between running such a program and the founders that you get and the environment between Berlin and Munich? Do you, like, from the people that you have in your program, are they mostly from the south of Germany, or do you have people from all over the place? Have you lured also teams from Berlin to Munich? How do you perceive this difference? And is it possible at all?
It's obviously possible. Actually, our problem is that we're not in Berlin and we're not even in Munich, so we're in Unterföhring, which is somebody said it's a Guantanamo of Munich. So, but it's possible, of course, and actually so there's less competition, at least for the southern startups of Germany, but also we've got startups from all over the place, from Hamburg, from Berlin, from Düsseldorf, Köln, Stuttgart, and so on. So it does make a big difference if you move from Stuttgart to Berlin instead of moving from Stuttgart to Munich. And at the end of the day, the question the startups should ask themselves is this the right program for me and not the right city? Yeah? Perhaps Berlin very often is more distracting from doing business than Munich. So without failing, yeah. So with all those parties and all these distractions that you have in this great city, but yeah, it's definitely not a disadvantage for us being in Munich.
Ulf, what's your take? So difference between Munich, Berlin, and Cologne?
There are differences, but let's answer with some startups. I found now recently some Berlin startups which said, okay, why should we stay in Berlin? It's too much, it's overcrowded, we want to go somewhere else. Because if you really look for tech people, so there are other places in Germany. Don't have to be Berlin or Munich or whatever, but look in the Karlsruhe area, look in Dortmund, the whole area where we have the bigger faculty in software engineering and so on. So I think, Christoph, you have to think beyond. It's it's not a matter of cities. It's really like how we can get Germany as a startup hub with more relevance. You know, we have the other countries which are coming. If we are talking about Cologne, Berlin, or whatever, so it brings us nowhere.
Okay, so anyone in the room was contemplating to launch an incubator, do some copycatting with respect to what people are doing here? So, further question? Yes, please.
I have a question that comes from a classical corporation. When we think about starting something else that you do in a little smaller scale, what is your communication style towards your classic top management of your operations? So how do you talk to them when you need maybe money, when you need other stuff?
Actually, if you want to start, I think my experience is, if you want to start, I said it already, if you want to start something like that, accelerator, incubator, venture unit, whatever, it must be a top level management decision. Everything else doesn't work in the long term, or even in the midterm. It doesn't really work. So it must come from top down. And then if there is somebody who understands startups, because if you're a big corporation, you have those quarterly reports and annual reports and all the corporate stuff that you don't want to have in a startup and that perhaps you don't understand in a startup. And you have to have one on the top, at the top who really understands the processes, also the time frames of a startup and so on. And if that works, it could be a success.
So we have like an internal communication side, probably every corporate has that, and we started first of all to explain what is an accelerator, because nobody knew that, what's the difference between an accelerator and incubator, etc. And then we have like seats, because we are not based at the Axel Springer HQ, we are around the corner, so we have seats for every employee actually per day. And then we have like workshops, and we have 2 or 3 seats for the employees of Axel Springer to join and see what's going on.
So we have 30 seconds left, I think. Excuse me.
Okay, so it's just promoting new power within the organization. Sponsor is very important from top management level, and as you also mentioned, a sponsor that understands it's a 5 to 8 years business. A company comes with a business case, and this business case will never happen. The first plan will never happen, and this needs to be understood in the organization.
Famous last words.
Very similar. So it's again our idea, the use our idea came from the top level management, and maybe the best explanation is we have still startup genes, even though we are 15 years old and somehow corporation. We started as a startup, and everybody is feeling in that corporation as a startup, and we now try to bring the spirit back in each and every corner of this company.
So thank you very much to all of you. Thank you for sharing your experience and being open to discussion and everything.